But it seemed like they done took a lot of lunch breaks today. So here are the pictures, y'all, for the discrepancies about whether or not, he hit her Jeep or what have you, even though we know she placed herself in front of it. Here is about as close as I can get. So it looked like maybe his bumper, maybe, is touching her tire, right? Maybe. So we heard the recording. He hit my car. Well, look at her tires. Girl, did she driving around? Okay. Okay. All right. So if you guys look at the diagram, the whole thing about the median or what have you, if you guys look, and I am, not today, but I'm going to go out there. I'm going to show you. This little median-ish thing here, the merge lane he was in, so she went in the lane around it. Let me find a picture. Okay, this is a picture from the courts, and of course the picture's not from the actual time that this happened, but you can see the merging lane here. And so she came from the lane that you were supposed to go straight and went around and got in front of him right there. So when they using phrases like jumped the median or jumped in his window, I mean, you got to say exactly. She went around the median. She was reaching through his window, because a lawyer like that is just going to, tear that apart and use it to discredit you. But she was doing all that. And listen to the testimony that day, guys. This traffic was backed up basically to a stop because of the many accidents that were on the highway. The exit is right here in this lane to get on the highway. So she was going all throughout, swerving all throughout that traffic. I request a lot of you she's over here. Have you heard that? We may take a brief 3-4 minute break. So and we can attorney talk. I knew her attorney was going to try to use the discrediting of the witnesses. Then he went for self-defense. The smoking gun, to me, in this case, is her 911 call. That's a smoking gun. What we heard today, which was replayed, because obviously I missed the full version the first time they played it. But this case is going by fast, which is good. But the smoking gun is her testimony. And I just listened to the prosecution wrap up. She didn't do a good job at all. At all.
Proven beyond a reasonable doubt of the offense malice murder, as they stated in their allegation that Hannah Payne did on May 7, 2019, with malice aforethought, caused the death of Kenneth Herring, a human being, by shooting him with a firearm. The evidence we've heard are contradicting testimony of what's going on. We've heard one witness say that she came out and held him at gunpoint. We had one witness come out and say she jumped in the window. We had one witness come out and say the accident happened somewhere else besides where the other two. They said that disputed testimony. Some say the gun was holstered until the car hit her car. Some say she came out with it pulled. We heard testimony from the forensic examiner who said the angle of the bullet and the entrance was a slight right to left which the theory that was shot outside the vehicle, and we saw the video, that is not a correct account of what happened. In the video, we heard testimony say that they were fighting over the gun, going back and forth. And then upon the gun going off, immediately she...
Okay, now here's video of when the officer came on the scene. Can you imagine? I'm not sure what just happened here. Hold on. Man, to get this to play from the beginning is the most difficult thing. But can you imagine the police entering the scene knowing this was a black woman or a black man? And be multiple police guns blazed. And they would immediately grab them. Look at her. Look at her. Casually. The gun was even pointed at the police. I mean, it was laying in the open palm of her hand. But it was even pointed at the police. And she just handed it to them like they friends. No worries. I mean, that's real unusual. Suspect.
Were fighting over the gun, going back and forth. And then upon the gun going off, immediately she picks up the phone and requests assistance.
Y'all can see how heavy the traffic is. And you telling me this girl chasing behind this man wouldn't be dangerous?
From the police and an ambulance. She's not a nurse, she's not a doctor, but she does the best thing she could. She explains to 911 what happened and requests assistance for him, for Mr. Herring. So in no way or form has anybody come in and proven there was malice of any. There was no malice, no testimony of her saying, you know what, today, this guy caused an accident, I'm going to take his life. There's no testimony, there's no evidence that he didn't give.
I want to see if there's any volume to this one. Because when they talked about the police picking up a shell, I believe he was trying to see if it was loaded. I mean, we got to watch this again. She just handed her gun to the police like it wasn't nothing. Like it wasn't, look. It's in the thumbnail right there. They have to show commercials and all that kind of stuff. Man, hold on.
Come out and say the accident happened somewhere else besides where the other two. They said that disputed.
This woman is handing the police the gun with the phone on her ear, propping it up with her shoulder. I don't know what her other hand is doing for sure, but it looks like it's cuffing her hoodie. Maybe trying to hold on to something. I don't know what that is right there. But I just want y'all to look at this. And people say, oh, you got to make this and that about race. Everything is about race. There is no one on the face of this earth that can say this would happen this way if it was a black person. The fact that we're even sitting here not 100% sure, and that she's gonna be convicted. The prosecution didn't even do a good job. To me, it's as if the woman didn't even really try. I mean, this woman is this policeman didn't meet her 5 minutes before this. He didn't have lunch with her yesterday. He's not friends with her. Well, that we know of, they don't know each other. I'm just going to say that because I'm not arguing nothing I don't know. But he got a call that this woman shot somebody. I just want y'all to... He got a call that she shot somebody. He walks up as if he is strolling in the park. I don't know what is being said, because again, she's on the phone. You see that phone to her ear that she holding up? So she didn't even really look at the dude. She's sideways to him. And she reaches out and hands him the gun, and he simultaneously reaches out and grabs the gun. Wait, I'm sorry, he didn't grab it. She placed it in his hand. It was much more gentler than a grab. I just it's just odd seeing this. I think if any black person look at this, they're gonna say, they're gonna say, what? This is just really odd, because it would not go down like that if it was one of us. That's for 100% sure. People can say, oh, nobody told the police she was white. No, somehow he knew she was white. Somehow they gathered that information. If they need to know that the physical identity of the person whom they're calling about, aka the man, they ask somebody about her too. It's just not all on tape. Watch this. Look at how casual this takes place. Let me downsize this some so we can get all of it. I want to make this full, and then we can start over from there. Let's see if I can pull it. Look at him. He not running. He by himself. Look at her. She's just standing there with the gun out.
Testimony, some say the gun was holstered until the car hit her car. Some say she came out with it pulled. We heard testimony from the forensic examiner who said the angle of the bullet and the entrance was a slight right to left, which the theory that was shot outside the vehicle, and we saw the video, that is not a correct account of what happened. In the video, we heard testimony.
The fact that this girl is standing around everybody, is that the dude behind her we just saw that was in court talking about he need his tickets knocked off? Didn't he say his uncle or somebody was in law enforcement? And he gonna ask the DA in exchange for his testimony? Did he know that was illegal? I'm glad she made him say it. Because, I mean, so he got like he was giving up somebody notorious. And it was all dependent upon him. So I need you to do this for me. Like, he really asked the DA to take care of his tickets. What? But anywho, she's just casually standing around everybody talking. This is just so, it's so unreal, y'all. It's so unreal.
They say that they were fighting over the gun, going back and forth. And then upon the gun going off, immediately she picks up the phone and requests assistance from the police and an ambulance. She's not a nurse. She's not.
We heard this testimony, and the woman, we heard the 911 call. She told them to tell the police to turn around from the exit and get here now. She said that twice before she even considered. She was like, yeah, and now he need an ambulance. It's like, I'm good. He ain't. She didn't get oh my God, he needs an ambulance. And then, no, it didn't go down like that. So, he tried it. I don't know what this is, but, that's from the 911 calls the first time.
Not a doctor, but she does the best thing she could. She explains to 911 what happened and requests assistance for him, Mr. Herring. So in no way or form has anybody come in and proven there was malice of any. There was no malice, no testimony of her saying, you know what, today, this guy caused an accident, I'm going to take his life. There's no testimony, there's no evidence that even gives an inclination that that is what was going on. And even though you have people say, oh, she had no remorse or whatnot, she was still on the phone attempting to get an ambulance to come there. She stood and she argued or explained to the bystanders she didn't have her finger on the trigger. This is not anything that had intent. This was a situation where she got grabbed. She was being
Okay. It's just weird. They got too many ads on their page. You know, but let's see it. Let me get that. She had it handed out. I mean, but if Boy Stop Lying was a person, it's her lawyer. How many times? How many times did he say in court, oh, this evidence said this and this said that and da 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 da. And then, you know, you gotta go back over it and they like, Boy, stop lying. So he's saying that she was telling them her finger wasn't on the trigger. I don't recall her saying that to the bystanders, but let's see what we hear. Okay. Now, I heard something about finger on the trigger. So, Boy Stop Lying might not be a person this time. But it don't sound like what he said. She said. Let me see if I can rewind this. Come on. This is so annoying. I don't know, y'all. I gotta listen to this playback with headphones, and maybe y'all are listening with headphones. But it sounds like she said she had her finger on the trigger. Not that it matters either way, because, you know, all of the above. But, anywho. All this is going on while this man is laying here with a bullet hole in his stomach, y'all. Old boy keep looking in the window from the other side and looking around. And he said he was late for something. But he stuck around so he can ask him to take off, you know, his tickets. But ain't nobody sitting up there saying, hey, get this, can we see if we can stop his bleeding, give him CPR, like something? Nobody tending to the man. I mean, I get the ambulance is on the way, but hey, somebody dying over here while y'all doing all this. Okay, here now. We got him on a stretcher. So he did that. So I'm not going to play the rest of his stuff because, I mean, he did exactly what, I'm about to press mute on this. Hold on. He did exactly what I knew he was going to do. And I'm definitely not going to play the prosecution side because I'm so disappointed. And she did a little better than I thought she was going to do. But this woman did not go hard on this case at all. It's like she barely tried. And her ending statement should have been much deeper than that. But I'm ahead of things. And when I looked back on it, it looks like they brought Hannah to the stand. I don't know if that was a last minute decision because what I'm looking at now with them, that's giving their final statements. Their closing statements, it looks like. Well, that's not true. The prosecution rested. So basically what he's trying to do is get it. I'm going to play some more because let me get to a picture or something. Hold on. Yeah, basically the defense attorney was trying to say it's not been proven that it's for any of the charges that she have. It's not been proven that it's enough evidence to move forward with the charges. You know, the witnesses were not credible. So I knew he was going to do that. And, you know, I'm happy the judge decided that's not true. Because, I mean, the judge, that spoke volumes to me. I hope the jury caught it. Because if after everything they're hearing, because, you know, if you, I don't want to say weak, but the lawyer, he can convince you of some things just like he can twist up the witnesses and have them confused about what they trying to say and get them to say things that he want them to say and all of that. So as a jury, you just as amateurish. So if you're seeing him do all this and he's sitting up here coming up and saying, well, you know, there's not enough evidence for all this. And you're like, well, he's a lawyer, so he must know what he's talking about. The jurors might be like, well, he's right. No, the judge is saying there definitely is, and they're gonna deliberate.
And then he grabbed it, and the gun went off. And from her on the 911s, her statements on the 911s, that he went off based on him grabbing the gun and his finger pulling the trigger.
Man, imagine we live in a world where you can attack me, you can come after me with your gun. And if I grab your gun, trying to stop you from hurting me with it, and somehow the trigger get pulled, you can possibly go to court and say, I killed myself from grabbing you. I should have had my hands on your gun. Like, dude, this wouldn't even be a situation if you didn't come for me. Imagine me laying in my grave. You came and decided to be the Grim Reaper that day. And I'm watching this trial and I'm looking and I'm like, okay, she killed me, so let's go. And then you hear them say, well, he pulled the trigger. You know, well, in my case, she pulled the trigger. And I'll be like, what? So wait, you gonna blame it on me?
There's no malice that has been established in any form or fashion to constitute or even prove anywhere near a reasonable doubt that she did do malice murder.
If Boy Stop Lying was a person.
And should the court see and review the testimony the way I have, then that would basically take out the malice murder and the gun charge that was with it, count 6. Then I move to count 2, felony murder, where it says that on the 7th of May 2019, while in the commission of aggravated assault as alleged, a felony that caused the death of Kenneth Herring, a human being.
Speed this
Testimony was that, once again disputed, you don't know if the gun was on her hip, or the gun was pulled, or what to believe, but based on the video.
And this is a
testimony from Mr. Williams, who had the video, who the video kind of corroborated exactly what he said.
this is another reason why I don't want to play the prosecution's statement after this. Y'all want to listen to it, go back and listen to it, but I just don't even, I can't listen to it twice. I'm too disappointed in it. If he'd spent all this time and effort with the witnesses, trying to establish a picture, a clear claim that if Kenneth Herring, this man we're looking at right here, who was trying to get away from this woman, well, he didn't even know he was trying to get away from her until she pulled up on him, right? But the whole time she chasing this man down. The defense attorney is using all these seances with the witnesses to try to say that this man could have pulled out and backed up, went around, XYZ to get away from her. He tried his best to make the witnesses say that he could have got away from her. He even tried to make the witness today say that if Kenneth wanted to, he could have got up on the sidewalk and rolled out. If somebody else wanted to, they could have went on the sidewalk and rolled out. Why would he even? I'm so proud of that woman. I don't know who she is, but ma'am, you did a great job today. Yes, you did. She was the best. I haven't seen all the witnesses testify, I don't think, but she definitely, hands down, she did good. I mean, she was getting a little perturbed, but who would? Because she did. I know she did better than I would have. I would have at some point told him, just leave me alone. I would have been like, sir, you done asked me the same question like 11 times and I done gave you the same answer, so you can just move on to the next question. At some point, I would have told the prosecution, I need you to object right now. I would have said it out loud in court because he was ridiculous. And that's what I'm saying. This dude been getting away with everything. I know he's allowed to repeat in different ways to try to get them, but he'll stay for 20 minutes on the same thing and they just sit there and let him. Prosecution don't say nothing. That's why I'm like, is her and Hannah half sisters? Are they related somehow? Does she know their mama? I mean, anybody looked into that? Because I just don't understand how the prosecution has been so lax. But the witness, she held it down on her own. That's what I'm talking about. She did good. I'm not going to say it wasn't some weak spots, because it was. But she did a great job, especially going up against somebody like him. But he did all that to try to make her say, yeah, somebody could have went up on the sidewalk. Wouldn't you say? She like, I'm not going to say somebody would go on the sidewalk. No, I'm not going to. She was like, well, if possible, it's possible. Like, he tried to make her say it's possible. Like, I mean, dude tried everything he could. I'm sitting there like, you want this woman to say that somebody could have went on the sidewalk to get out? He could have went on the sidewalk to get out? First of all, and see, this is a lot of jewels that the prosecution missed, that if any normal prosecutor is watching this case, if any prosecutor is listening to my commentary on this case, you will also say that there's so many things that this prosecutor missed. The lawyer gave her so many jewels. Everything that he was like trying to argue, she could have came right behind him on it. What's she writing down? She taking notes, and you would think when she gets up, it's like, okay, she's about to show us what them notes do, and it's like air. I'm like, what? What, girl? Basically, I would have argued back. He's trying to make it seem like this dude should have been quick on his feet. He should have had the mental capacity to be slick and, be like, this is some kind of movie. Because clearly Hannah, she already knew she was the superhero. We didn't know that. He didn't know that. Other drivers didn't know that. They wasn't on superhero mode. They didn't take what she took that morning. I don't know what she was on. But nobody knew that we was in a movie that day. Nobody. So nobody's prepared even. So while she running around being superhero, everybody else didn't know what they was supposed to be. He didn't even know what he was supposed to be. The man was disoriented. He already asked, what happened? Who hit me? And they like, you hit somebody. Then you can hear them clearly saying he didn't seem like he was in his full capacity. So how was he supposed to be? And then later to find out that, yes, he was in a diabetic coma. She could have broke down, make sure the jury understood what type of capabilities you have at that point, mentally and physically. And then say, how are we supposed to expect him? Because he's putting a burden up on this man who been chased down and cornered to move away from her. So instead of attacking her back, which really he was defending himself against, he was trying to defend himself. And how good was he supposed to be at that, y'all? She had the advantage. She was outside of the car. She had the courage of Zeus because she knew she had a gun. So she was Xena Princess Warrior that day. She was reaching into his window and he in his car never got out. Never. This man never got out the truck, y'all. Let's be clear. He never got out the truck. He never got out the truck. This woman was doing all the moving around. She flew there. Okay? She flew there on her cape. So you tell me she couldn't jump up in the air and fly away? But him in his diabetic coma state is supposed to be like, oh, I know what I could do. I could back up to the right just this much. Then I could pull up, turn my wheel hard to the left, which really, it would be the opposite way because the sidewalk is on the right. But go and get up on the sidewalk and go around and that third car up. Then I can squeeze through there. Maybe they pull up just a little bit and let me go around. Then I could cut through the middle lanes and then I could come back around to the right and get in front of that white car right there. And then boom, I'm on the exit. Or I could just ride the sidewalk all the way to the exit. It's about half a mile. You telling me in his state, he was supposed to do, if he had the burden to do all of that, instead it's his fault that she got scratches on her, allegedly. She got her hand bruised, allegedly. So she broke a fingernail, maybe. They said she broke a fingernail. Did they say she broke a fingernail? Her shirt was torn, allegedly, by him. Oh, the trigger was pulled, allegedly, by him. You mean to tell me that Hannah had to endure his attacks? She took herself to him. She couldn't remove herself from him the same way. Her car wasn't disabled. Her Jeep, we see the pictures, y'all. It's not even clear if it actually made contact. I mean, listen, this girl lives on the edge. She drove around. Her front tires was bald. I swear that's wire sticking out. I mean, I'm talking about bald. They have no tread. Did they even ticket her for that? Probably not. Did they even ticket her for that wild maneuver around the median? How many of y'all got improper lane changes in Georgia before? On some dumb stuff. I took a left turn one morning going to work. And the police officer eventually, after he explained it to me, because at first he wouldn't, and I would not let up. I'm like, I don't even understand what you're trying to say. Because he tried to write on the ticket that I was traveling on the wrong side. Man, he put down that I was traveling on the wrong side of the highway on the exact same road where this incident here happened. He said when I made the left turn that my left tire, front tire, was on the yellow line. He said, you are not allowed to touch that line. That puts you on the other side of the highway because you could be endangering the cars coming up to that light for their left turn. I said, what? So you going to court with traveling on the wrong side of the highway. I'm like, bring them. No, I'm not pleading nothing. I don't plead. I'm not pleading. Bring them. Let's go. We're going to trial. We're going to explain this and make this make sense. And then I want him to show the evidence even. A whole driving on the wrong side of the highway because you say my tire touched that double yellow lane when I made that left turn. How many of y'all go on that yellow line when you make your left turn? I mean, ever since that day, I go out my way to make sure, even if I choose the second lane, I make sure that I'm not touching that line, that I go inside of the line. But if you're just doing it, pay attention next time you do it and see how you come up in that lane. And I got that knocked off. There's no trace of it because it's ridiculous. But that you can get done like that. Easy. And I'm telling y'all, it's on the exact same street where this accident happened. So you mean to tell me they didn't give her no ticket for coming around, making a right lane turn recklessly off of that, where she was actually in a lane where you're supposed to go straight? She didn't get no reckless driving, all these traffic, she almost caused accidents, all that. She didn't get no other tickets except for these, so-called murder charges. Like, cut it out. Prosecution, she didn't talk about how Hannah could have left. She could have walked away. The man never got on his truck. She could have went to another vehicle and asked for help. Can I hide behind your car? Can I get under your car? Can I get in your car? She could have ran across the street, jogged across the crosswalk to McDonald's and went in there and said, I need shelter. She could have ran to the airport and got on a plane. I don't know. But she could have removed herself from the situation easy. Elephants move fast, But the prosecution ain't say nothing ever. In this whole time, have I heard her talk about how Hannah could have got away from that man and left him alone if she felt like she was being hurt. The defense attorney, honestly, he not even trying to say that Hannah needed to pull her gun and shoot him because he wouldn't let her go. She was being, now he did kind of say she was pulling him into the wind. He was trying to pull her into the car, but he didn't drive into that. Like, he didn't force the issue that he's saying he was, really trying to pull her in, and she couldn't get loose of him and all that. If her shirt ripped almost completely in half, she was free. Yeah, basically, there was plenty of air and opportunity for the prosecution to argue so many things. And she did. I can't even listen to that shit again. I'm telling you. I can't. We got another commercial. YouTube did not hesitate to be hardcore with these ads. It's ads everywhere. I swear.
That gun was never pulled until after the struggle was ensuing, and that the individual other accounts
I can't, y'all. It's the fact that he keep arguing this point is more and more reason why it's important for the prosecution to use that. The gun wasn't pulled until after the struggle ensued. What? If you so beat up and scared, I don't know, because did he ever say she was scared? He didn't even say she was scared. This is too easy, man. Listen, if y'all struggling so bad, let's just say that, okay? Because this is what he keeps saying. Then you can just pull out your gun. Maybe the police might need to hire you because you just as foul as, some we see, right? They struggling so hard that she can actually unholster her weapon and shoot him. And then he's arguing about the trajectory of the gun, the angle that somebody testified that she shot from, which he says is not accurate. Why come the prosecution didn't use none of that? How come she didn't take the forensics report and the fact that this girl was standing above him like the authority figure. Like she had the power in this situation. She was standing above him. She was outside. She was free. She could move her legs. She could walk away. She could jump over a car. She could leap over buildings, honestly, because that day she had the power. She could have did anything, but he was limited to what? His car. He was limited to his car. This man talking about tools and needles and all this kind of stuff. This prosecution ain't say nothing about it. Don't matter what he had in his vehicle. If she was so concerned that he might have used something on her, as soon as she walked up and she looked in the vehicle and she saw all that stuff he had in his car, she said, I'm just gonna leave this person alone. But no, this white woman is demanding that this black man get on the phone and talk to another massa, and he's supposed to comply. He better comply. And she has a right to force him to comply. The defense attorney keeps saying she was just trying to get him to do his duty. And she was doing her duty to get him to do his duty and get on the phone because the cops are on the phone. You don't get on the phone when the cops are on the phone. Who doesn't get on the phone when the cops want to talk to you and tell you to go back to the scene? Y'all hear how this shit sound?
Vehicle had stopped and not hit her vehicle, but then did accelerate and hit her vehicle. And no one was able to give an account of the position of her, whether she was on the side of the car, whether she was on the front of the car. We did hear somebody say it was like an inch, but anybody who would say it was like an inch would have said the car's hit. So I'm not sure how we can use the weight of that testimony because it doesn't appear to be possible or logical.
Let me be clear here. I'm just, we just gonna get on prosecution here because she didn't touch that. She let this man put this out here throughout the whole trial. In fact, they even put it out when they had the witness, and the witness said first, she said no, they did not. He did not hit her Jeep. Then after that, it was he hit her. So the defense came right behind him, took that, ran with it. Now he rammed her. He pounded. What was the word he used? But he made it sound like he hit her hard and all that kind of stuff. We can pull up the pictures from the scene again, so we can remind the court, we can remind the jury what that hitting her allegedly looks like. I would have had those pictures enlarged. I would have had the area around where it's dark at from the lighting and her dark tires. I would have had all that lit up so that we can see exactly if there is contact, to show that even if there is contact, it's minimal. Most of the people there are even saying they didn't even touch. They almost touched, but he slammed on brakes and they didn't even touch. But this guy is able and allowed to run with the narrative that he hit her car. See, I mean, it's every little thing that he getting away with.
The gun was not pulled until after she screaming stop. They're going back and forth the struggle. You saw pictures of her shirt ripped. You saw the pictures of the scratches all on her neck, her arms. You saw the swollen wrist. All of these show that there was a struggle ensued. And the testimony, they said that she was hitting him or punching him. There were no bruises. From the forensic examiner, she said there were no bruises or contusions or anything on his body except for a pin-sized bruise on his left shoulder where the seatbelt would go. But it was not the size of a seatbelt, but a pin top size. Therefore,
I just don't with this. I don't with this because we can hear her pounding on him on the 911 tape. I would have at least, just like he doing everything, I would have been at least saying that we can tell when she's talking, we can hear what sounds like punches. She don't have to say it for a fact because it's not necessary. It hasn't been proven to be a fact, but we know what we hear, right? So I would have at least put it in their mind that this definitely sounds like when she's on that phone call, we hearing her. It sounds like she's actually punching him while she's talking, because what else is that we hear? She's not saying he's hitting me. She's not saying that. So that's her doing the hitting. We can hear the changes in her voice. This right here is crazy. He is a dark, look at him. This man is the same complexion as me. Look at her. Who gonna show bruises? She would have had to been pistol whipping him all upside his head with the butt of that gun and blood gushing out, gashes, cuts, swelling for him to show bruises.
Gun she had to use for self-defense as he was continuously grabbing, pulling, and revving up his car and driving. And in the 911 tape,
revving up his car, that's fabricated. That's fabric. He's constantly been painting a picture that this dude was trying to ram her. He was beating her down. He was doing, the prosecution let him run with this shit. I'm telling y'all. He painted this picture like this dude was the one who he chased her down, basically.
Of the vehicle, which confirmed that the revving of the vehicle was to drive off or to hit, or I'm not sure what his intentions were, but from a reasonable person's view, who comes out with a phone to say, I have the police on the phone, it's not reasonable for somebody to rev up the engine or grab her or try to ram her or
what?
The vehicle. She stated
First of all, this is stupid. How's it not? Who? Okay, I got the police on the phone. Yay, the police. Let me talk to who's doing that? Nobody. Okay, I ain't even gonna spend no more time on that.
And luckily it was her car, not her. So as for the aggravated assault, upon him grabbing and suing, you saw pictures that were in the truck. A lot of people didn't hear what was being said from inside the truck.
This woman is looking up, the prosecution. She's looking up at him, looking down at her paper like she's writing. When she get up there, you thinking that she got her thesis there all together. Her essay is nice, double space. The 1 inch indents, the title is right. Everything. And then she come up there with that kindergarten slop. Are you serious? This dude, listen to him. Listen to him. So many jewels he giving out. She should have debunked everything he said. He talking about she got out the car. Oh, 911 is on the phone. They wanted to talk to you. Hey, I'm just trying to, speak to you about your car insurance. No, that woman got out aggressively. She got out immediately charging him. She got out immediately yelling at him and commanded him like she was the kindergarten teacher or something. And she was forcing him to get on the phone. The cops are on the phone. You get here. Get on the phone. Cops are on the phone. She said that after she said 10 sentences before that. It was immediate aggression. She brought that energy from the beginning. Prosecution ain't saying none of that.
Instruments in there that could have been used for serious immediate bodily harm. There was a knife. There was a small saw. There were needles all over the place. All of these could have been used to cause immediate harm to my client, and she was only able to pull a gun to try to deter him from continuing with the actions he was doing. And she stated she never had her finger in the trigger. Therefore, it was never an intent to pull a gun and shoot. It was for protection and to deter him from his actions.
What would have been stopping her from walking away and getting her Jeep and driving off? In fact, her car wasn't disabled. He's saying that Kenneth should have drove off instead of attacking her back. So why the prosecution don't get up and say she didn't have to pull her gun to deter him from doing whatever she's alleging he was doing? She could have just walked away. She could have got in her car and she could have drove away. Why would you not say that?
There. And therefore, because the aggravated assault has not been proven beyond a reasonable doubt, the felony murder in count 2 should not survive the directed verdict based on the facts that it has not given rise beyond a reasonable doubt that the aggravated assault occurred in the manner it was accused to make an assault upon the person of Kenneth Herring. It was pulled as protection.
Y'all know what's so weird? We started off with this thinking this is the worst attorney ever. This gotta be his first case, all this stuff. And it was within no time that this dude turned out to be the strongest thing in the courtroom. It's weak, but he got what he wanted. You got to give it to him. He got rid of the first judge because y'all not going to sit up here and tell me that wasn't intentional. He got rid of the first judge because he knew that wasn't the judge he needed for the plan he had, the strategy he had. And he got the right judge. She ain't saying nothing about nothing. And the prosecution clearly ain't saying nothing about nothing. And he running that courtroom. Like, he's the whole winner here. He's the whole winner throughout this entire trial. I don't know how this verdict is going to go. The most damaging, I haven't watched her testimony yet. Ooh, he put her on the stand. You know what kind of confidence he had to have to put her on the stand? There's no way in this case that the lawyer should have advised this girl to go on the stand. You know why he told her to get on the stand? Because they winning. They winning. So all they got to do is put her up there and drive it on home. You know, I was just trying to do the right thing, and he was attacking me so hard, and I was scared. I didn't know if he was going to stab me with that knife. He was going to stick that needle in me. I didn't know if he was going to, you know, I couldn't get away. I had no other choice. I just wanted him to stop. I just wanted him to stop. I just wanted him to get on the phone with the police. And then it's over.
And to deter him from continuing his actions that he continuously did, even though you heard screaming, stop, stop, stop. And therefore, if the court sees it, and I presume they will, sees count 2 and count 3 would be resolved with a directed verdict, and that would take out count 7 of the commission of possession of firearms during the commission of a felony. And I would bring the court's attention to count 4, where they said felony murder with the underlying felony being false imprisonment. The state has put testimony up there that said the car was going, she pulled in, you saw the angle. 2 of them said that they did not stop in front of him, that he had space. One says like an inch, one says not sure how much the space is, one didn't really have an angle to see it.
See, he is so conniving. Like, I see all his dirt. I just don't understand why he's allowed to get away with it. He's inferring that the man had space to get away. That's not what the testimony was. If boy, why don't you stop lying, was a person. The testimony was about whether or not he actually made impact with her vehicle. He's twisting that to say, like, he's a liar. This is when people talk about liars, and people talk about liars being liars, when people talk about liars being scum, when people talk about lawyers not having no conscience, when people talk about lawyers willing to do anything to win a case, this is your example of what people are talking about. If you think that is fictitious, watch this dude. I mean, he plain broad daylight. Like, he ain't hiding nothing. He just doing it. It's all about what they let him get away with. They was talking about whether or not they made a collision. He's using this to paint a narrative to say again what he was already unable to say before, unable to force them to say, is that man he had room to pull his truck away from the scene. And this is even more reason why the prosecution should have made it clear he could not. She should have broke down how he could not, so that can really be clear. The fact that she's not arguing a lot of the stuff that he's saying, even if the jury is like, dude, that's not, no. Nobody's saying nothing, so they probably like, well, you know, he might, eventually people can get you to eventually believe what they're saying. Especially if there's no opposition. There's no opposition. What? This is gold right here. Why would she not argue that he could not leave, but she surely could? Why? He's driving it home as hard as he can. Man, listen, something ain't right.
They all confirmed that there was not a collision, that the car was there. And as we saw from the pictures that were tendered, there was plenty of room to move or to go to one side.
See, this is another thing. I will bring this up too. He say he's just been a double-headed snake right now. This entire trial. He says 2 opposite things, and they're both supposed to be true. He's using it whenever it's convenient. And now, if this jury is not up on it, then before he was hit, he hit her. He revved the engine. He hit her. He made a hard impact. You know, he banged her vehicle. She did this because he hit her vehicle. He was saying this the whole time. Now, he didn't hit her. Therefore, he could have pulled out. Which one is it?
Or the other. The guy that was filming it was driving right there beside it. Should Mr. Herring have wanted to move or not participate in what was going on, he could have easily driven out, backed up, after hitting the car, backed up and drove off. And once again, the presumption is that he had the ability.
Now he hit it again.
And it was not that the car stopped him from doing that. That his truck was leaking radiator fluid. That the truck was badly damaged. And you heard the testimony from the state officer saying this car ain't going far. It's smoking and it's leaking fluid. That engine's going to stop soon enough. We haven't heard any testimony from the state to say that the vehicle was operational. That after the event, when they came to get the vehicle, that it was able to drive. So, him being in that position was at his own actions. He drove forward and hit the vehicle. Now, could he have driven off? Testimony from the views and the pictures, it appears so. But if the vehicle was not properly running at that time, based on the damage, based on the loss of radiator fluid, based on a lot of factors, that is why he was there. Not because of a car pulling in front of him.
Wow.
With that being said, he had the door locked, or it appeared the door was locked, so nobody could get into the vehicle. That is another reason that he was not able to get out, because he had his window down and the door appeared to be locked or damaged, so it was unable to be opened. All of these do not give rise to beyond a reasonable doubt. There are many theories that can be put on out there, but evidence has not been presented to confirm one way or the other. Evidence wasn't even presented to talk about the vehicle. And was it operational after he accelerated and hit Miss Payne's car? So to try to categorize Miss Payne as the proximate cause of why he was there in the state he was, or why the vehicle was unable to move, or why he was unable to move, is not.
This is crazy. This is crazy.
And that vehicle and his actions. He had reasonable means of escape. He could have just backed up and pulled off. He didn't have to ram her car. He didn't have to.
See.
You saw the video driving down right to the left, and that car kept moving.
He back to she rammed his car.
Impeding him from driving slowly by and watching it. As you look to the right side in one of the pictures, he didn't even have to go on the sidewalk. He could have scooted around without even going on the road.
I just want to know who the jurors are. You know, because there's just certain type of people that will avoid jury duty. There's certain type of people that, you know, they say, I got jury duty, I'm going to do it. There's certain type of people that want jury duty. But, you know, when we're actually having trials and we need a good jury, a fair jury, then, you know, and we get what we get. I wonder how many are women, how many are men, what are their ethnicity, because, you know, it matters. It matters. Who is he talking to? Because, like, Boo Boo the Fool? Because he's serious as a heart attack. But if he talking to Boo Boo the Fool, then this is good talk. Homeboy is the reason why he dead. Like, he's the reason. He could have left. He was there because he wanted to be there. He was there because he was ready for the action. Like, he was there because he wanted her to give him the opportunity to pull the trigger on her gun and shoot himself.
No one said there was something on the sidewalk that was stopping him or impeding him from going that angle and moving on. So to say that she caused false imprisonment or as the cause of that has not been proven beyond a reasonable doubt. Not through the evidence that we've heard so far. And because they have not proven that felony, it would not give rise to felony murder because the underlying felony of false imprisonment has not been proven.
The way she keep looking.
There's numerous things that occurred that were not even touched or addressed. And therefore, because false imprisonment was not done by Ms. Payne, then count 4 should fail because it does not give rise to the felony that would justify the felony murder, which would take out count 8, possession of the firearm during the commission of the felony. Therefore, based on all the evidence we've heard so far, the testimonies and the lack of testimony to explain, the state has not carried their burden beyond a reasonable doubt to prove any of these 8 cases. And I respectfully request this court to grant my directed verdict motion.
I'm not going to listen to the prosecution. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not. Because that's just, I ain't got that kind of time. I want to listen to the judge's response and be done with it. Then I'm going to listen to her testimony and I'll be back on that. So, okay.
Liberate and to reach a verdict on each and every charge listed in the indictment.
Girl, go get another job.
So the court, having heard arguments from defense counsel as well as from the state, has determined that there is sufficient evidence for the case to be released to the jury and for them to deliberate to decide the case. The jury can view the evidence in the light most favorable to the state, and so the case will be released to the jury on all the counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Being clarifying, you just said the evidence will be released to the jury and it's favorable to the state. Is that your decision, or?
My decision is to deny the motion for a directed verdict, and because the court has determined that there is sufficient evidence for the case to be released to the jury to be deliberated upon and for them to decide the case on all the counts 1 through 8.
But this is the presumption of innocence that goes with my client when it's released to the jury.
What? That's not even a necessary question.
Indicate anything different, Attorney Tucker.
That's see. I would have. When you let a child run amok, they turn into Hannah and this dude right here. Because that's why he didn't want the other judge. Okay, he would have been stopped at his shenanigans a long time ago. This guy earlier, when he was trying to have them go get rid of the 911 tapes, and he was saying there were some parts you couldn't hear and parts that had radio silence on it when it should have picked up and all that. And then as they're listening back to it, he's narrating. He's like, this is what was said. Like, and I was so relieved that the jury wasn't in the room at that time, but he should have been told to shut his mouth. They use their ears, not what you say. He should never be allowed to sit up there and with each line state what was said. Because now you telling us what it says, as if we not sitting here with a brain and ears that are working to listen and decipher it for ourselves. The same way he was doing with the witness the other day when he walked up to her and like, that's on the right. What? To trick her into saying something that she shouldn't. That's not even true. It's ridiculous. But anywho, the judge says, forget all that. We not dropping nothing. She got 8 charges and they stand. There's enough evidence. That didn't work. So it's up to the jury to decide whether or not it's enough evidence or not. So we gonna see.